This is Chet Holmgren, and I'm down to dunk.
This is AJ Mitchell, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Alex Crusoe, and I'm down to dunk.
It's like baby bottle pop. Yeah.
This is Adam Flagler, and I'm down to dunk.
Hey, it's Isaiah Hartenstein, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Kason Wallace, and I'm down to dunk.
I can't spell Lucas. Hey, how do you spell Lucas? How do you spell Lucas?
This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to Dort.
This is Nikola Topic, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Dylan Jones, and I'm down to dunk. This is Isaiah Joe, and I'm down to dunk.
And there's probably like 50 to 75 Beanie Babies.
Give me like your top 3 Pokemon.
Brother, I can't even name.
This is Jay Will, and I'm down to dunk.
Sometimes the way his brain works is it leaves a lot to be desired.
This is Kenrich Williams, and I'm down to dunk.
Charmander.
Yeah.
Charmander. Or you're more of a Charmeleon guy.
Charmeleon.
This is Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and I'm down to dunk.
Schlecht. You know what it means? Yeah.
That means like bad.
It means bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's me.
Well, it was a good interview, so it wasn't bad.
JDub, year 3, and I'm down to dunk for the 3rd time. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome to episode 1, 5, 7, 4 of Down to Dunk. You can find us on The Athletic and anywhere else you subscribe to your podcast. Go to theathletic.com/down to dunk. You get The Athletic for $1 a month for 6 months. I am Luke, joined this morning by Andrew.
But I gotta say, I'm just fired to be here today. It's pretty cool. Pretty damn cool.
Slam through.
And Taylor.
It's Jay. Slam through.
We don't know where Jay is.
What's up, YouTube?
He told
We
us.
think he's doing house chores.
Yeah, he said in a message to us last night when we were all confirming we'd be here. He said that he's GTD, which Google tells me means getting things done. We don't know. Maybe he's swabbing the bathroom right now. Who knows?
Swabbing the bathroom.
I don't know, something they said on SpongeBob one time. So the Thunder played the Cleveland Cavaliers and lost. I wish that I could hand you this belt today, Taylor. It's kind of funny.
Are you kidding?
You won the belt and you're not even here to accept it.
Are you freaking kidding me?
I am not kidding you.
Hold up your. Are you wearing a belt? Take it off and hold it up.
You don't want me to take this belt off. I don't know what that is supposed to imply. But
wait, no, you didn't win it. No, wait, you didn't win it. Jay won it. Sorry.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious.
I'll never win the belt. I hope I never win the belt, actually.
Yeah.
I don't deserve the belt at this point.
Yeah, you did not win. Jay,
No.
So I picked Thunder by 7. Obviously, that's wrong. You picked Cavs by
3.
And then Jay picked them by 4. So.
Oh, and he said, I'll go 1 above you, Taylor.
Yeah.
All right. Jay is on the ship list.
Yep. So they play tonight in New York, which should be a very fun game. I'm going to look at, I don't know if anybody's put the injury report out. I think the Thunder actually have. And it's the same guys are out. No one new is playing tonight that would have played the other night. So thoughts on them playing the Knicks again? That Knicks game last Friday, which is a week ago, was a pretty intense game and one that looked like the Knicks had control of for a while until the Thunder just had this avalanche. But just thoughts on playing the Knicks tonight after losing a game in what feels like forever. It felt very strange to lose a game.
Well, this team, every time they've lost a game, has immediately course corrected and come back the next game and destroyed. So I think we're going to get a Shea that doesn't miss as many shots as he missed on Wednesday. And I think they're going to come out and win. I mean, they don't have Karl Anthony Towns, and we don't have Chet. And so I think the rest of the Thunder team is just a better squad than the New York Knicks. They are at New York.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little bit different, but it's also that Madison Square Garden thing, and superstars just play
Thunder
in
players,
Madison Square Garden.
Thunder players in particular, like to play at MSG.
I love it.
Yeah. Towns is questionable tonight with patellar tendinopathy.
Okay, well, get this. Guess what Towns is listed as on the NBA app?
Out.
GTD, not DTD. GTD.
Really?
Game time decision. Duh.
Oh,
Game time
oh, dang! You got it.
Game time decision.
Getting things done, I think is what it means.
How did we not get that?
Wow.
All of us were like, what is GTD? Did he mean DTD? Game time decision. Durr.
Good to dunk.
Going to dunk?
Going to dunk.
I'm going to dunk.
Towns
Anyway,
is going to dunk tonight.
so Towns, I'm interested to see if Towns plays. Towns, I was on Fred Katz's podcast yesterday, Cats and Shoot, and I think Towns has been their best player this year. And we've talked. Luke, you're revealing a lot of things on the stream, by the way.
Just going to bed, dude. just going to bed.
Just slowly pull the covers down a little bit as the pod goes on.
I'm pulling them up.
Yeah, I think that Towns has been their best player. And if they're missing Towns, I mean, that's a huge loss for them. I mean, they essentially didn't play with a bench last Friday. And then you take Towns away would be pretty big for them.
Yeah,
So
it would be big. So you're going to I mean, statistically, you're probably right that Towns is their best player. But you think even eye test Towns is the best player?
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Okay. I think talent-wise, you're right. Leadership-wise, I just can't give it to him. I just still got to go Brunson. I just don't think that team is what they are without Brunson.
I mean, they're certainly not. They're certainly not.
I don't think Towns is who Towns is on the New York Knicks, if not for Brunson.
Could be true. That could be true. So Alex and I talked a lot about the Cavs game on Wednesday night after the game. Give me your thoughts, Tayshaun, Elman.
It's going to be a lot of the same stuff. I just don't have much to say after that game. It felt like the Thunder got beat fair and square. The reffing seemed I mean, there were some calls here and there, but it seemed like the Cavs got some calls not going their way as well. So I didn't really have any issues with how the game was called. The only thing I thought at the end was, dang, if we had Chet, this would be so different here at the end specifically. Of course, through the whole game, but when Jarrett Allen was just getting all those offensive rebounds at the end, and then getting fouls because of that too, going their way, it was just like, man, this is really when we could have seen the effect of Chet on the court. If not for earlier in the game, and we would have been up, I don't know, maybe the Thunder would have gone up 20 at some point if Chet were playing. So that's all I thought during that game. Other than that, it was like, I don't know, that seemed like a fair, good game. It was a great game, by the way. It was really fun to watch. Really great game. Shea was missing shots that he makes usually, but that's the way the game goes. And I don't know. Those are really my thoughts on it. That's it.
You know, I thought this is the second time in, a little bit where the Thunder have lost on really big stages. Like, this game was hyped up.
When was the other loss?
The Cup.
It does. What do you mean?
Still, they lost that.
There's no record of that.
It was a big stage, and the Thunder did lose, which for me is okay, because I don't want, for me personally, financially, it's not okay, but for me, I am okay with it because I don't want the Thunder to. I think it makes them hungry, and it makes them to where on these really big stages, they know they still have to be better. And yes, they're going to have Chet, but it's not just that. Everyone still has to get better. And so I'm okay with that. I am at peace with it. And I'm almost glad that happens. Because I think that ultimately they're going to have to be better, and we're going to have to be better for the playoffs. And eventually, when we have these huge spotlights on us, we're going to have to win. And I think ultimately we will. But that's why I'm okay with it. So I am at peace with. I'm okay with the loss as well.
Luke, all right, we have to talk about this. You're just laying in bed. You don't have a shirt on, clearly. We can't even see your mouth. You're laying on a pillow. It sounds when you talk like you're laying on a pillow. Your eyes, for some reason, keep rolling into the back of your head every so often. You have fraternity paddles behind you hanging on the wall. What are those?
With my frat pads, dude.
He does.
They really are your frat paddles.
Yeah, one's mine, one's my brother's, one's my dad's. Yeah, dude. I'm in Stillwater. Come on.
Come on.
Okay.
Come on.
Like,
Are you gonna sit up at any point in this podcast?
When it's over.
Jesus. All right.
Okay.
When it's over, bro.
So the second fan return.
Hey, well, hold on. I get a rebuttal. Taylor,
All right.
your hat looks dumb. You obviously haven't done your hair.
That's true.
Your shirt looks stinky. You haven't showered in weeks.
No, this is a brand new shirt. It's just a vintage wash.
Oh, you got
It's a clean
hats.
shirt,
You got hats in the background.
That's my hat wall.
Oh my God! Are you gonna put on a different hat ever? Get out of here.
So the second All-Star fan returns were announced yesterday. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander still leads all guards in voting at 1.8 million votes.
By a lot.
LaMelo Ball is still second amongst all guards at 1.4 million, followed by Steph Curry at 1.3. So the question that I have is, I think that it's pretty obvious that Shai is going to be a West starter. And well, I don't even know if it is like East West, doesn't even matter at this point because this format is going to be quite different. So I don't even know what to say about that. He will be an all-star starter in some capacity, I would say. The question that I have is, will JDub make the all-star team?
Oh, man.
So when you look at the front court players, so fan vote makes up 50% of this for the starters. So I don't think that he's going to make the starters because he only has 328,000 votes as of today. So I don't think that he's certainly not going to be a starter. So then it comes down to coaches. So all the head coaches, which I don't know if it's all actually head coaches that are voting on this, but coaches from each team are
what are you implying when you say that?
I just don't know how many guys are going to be like, you know what? Assistant coach B, will you take this all-star ballot and vote? Or maybe they do bounce it off each other. You know, maybe it is something that like is in like a group of people and they're like, hey, let's take 10 minutes and like, let's knock this out. You know,
I was going to say, you don't think they're calling a meeting?
My guess is that Mark does his.
Okay.
But I would just say I don't know that every coach does. So the coaches vote on this. I think with the Thunder having the record that they do and being as dominant as they have been, I think the Thunder deserve a second All-Star. And I hope the coaches will take that into consideration. I think that it will likely be Nikola Jokic, LeBron James, and maybe Victor Wembanyama starting would be my guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that Kevin Durant will get the starting job just because he's missed so much time. He is second in voting in front court in the Western Conference. Other candidates would be Anthony Davis, and you just cannot start two Lakers in this All-Star game, or at least have two Lakers named starters. Like you just can't do that. So then it comes down to like who are the other candidates here. And these are just like the guys that are being voted in the top 10. But to me, it's going to be probably Jokic, LeBron, Victor Wembanyama.
That makes sense to me.
The three front court guys. And then it comes down to I don't know that Kevin gets in. I just don't know that Kevin gets in at all, just because he's missed so much time. But maybe
Really?
we should vote for him. Alperen Şengün is at 556,000 votes, which is he's 6 above JDub. Andrew Wiggins is not making the All-Star team, but he's down there below Domantas Sabonis, Jaren Jackson Jr. So to me, it's about like Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, Alperen Şengün, Jaren Jackson Jr., JDub is probably where we land here. And I really believe that JDub should be on this All-Star team. If that's the guys that we're deciding between, I think that you absolutely have to have JDub.
How many of those guys will be on the bench? 4 of those people you just said?
I believe it is 4.
Okay.
How scared are you that he's not going to make the All-Star game?
I mean, I think that once you hit a particular status and you have guys that have played this well, I'm not scared about it. I just think that you can easily justify him being on the All-Star team. That's all.
Yeah, quick look. He's 20.7 points per game, so almost 21 points per game, almost 6 rebounds per game, and then 5 assists per game on the number 1 team in the West, second best team record-wise in the league. That guy is an all-star, usually.
Yeah. 26-5, and also plays. This is why it's good that it's the coaches that are voting on this, because they know that he defends the best football player in every single game.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think to me, he'll get the nod and he'll be an all-star for the first time, which will be very, very cool.
Yeah, that is so cool.
Yeah. So let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comments. Do you think J-Dub's going to be an all-star? Obviously, the Thunder don't have a third guy at this point that is deserving of an all-star nod. It would have been Chet. I mean, honestly, like Hartenstein, would be another guy that I would consider for that spot. He'd be if the Thunder we have to get 3 Thunder guys in there. It would have to be Hartenstein, right?
Yeah, and by the way, he was amazing in the Cavs game. Like when I was talking about if we just had Chet, it would be different. That was not a knock on Hartenstein at all. I'm thinking if we had Hartenstein and Chet, then that's a different game. Yeah. He was 18, 11, and 8. 8 assists. Second leading assist man on the team in that game. He was great. He was doing everything he could. The Cavs are just huge.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just big and athletic with their bigs.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we only have one big athletic guy really that could do anything. So he's great. He's been better than expected all season since he's played.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Really? I expected him to be pretty good.
You expected him to have 18, 11, and 8 games?
I mean, I don't know. That's a good question.
The assists are like, I was not expecting that. Also, I didn't really expect, obviously we couldn't have expected this role and this amount of playing time.
Yeah,
as the single big with the starters, with the other best players on the team. And it's been kind of a revelation to see him as, oh, hey, this guy is definitely a starting center, playoff caliber, contending team caliber starting center.
Mm-hmm.
I believed in him.
I didn't think that. I knew he was going to be good. I didn't think that.
I believed in him. So,
yeah, we do have a question that kind of lines up with this a little bit about centers, and it comes from H. Rogthar, and he wants to know: most agree Chet is the Thunder's best center ever. Where does Hartenstein rank?
Wow,
best centers to ever put on a Thunder uniform. I mean, if we put number 1 Chet, who are the other candidates? It's the Thunder haven't existed for that long. So other candidates, Steven Adams is certainly a candidate. I know that like Kendrick Perkins, but he's a candidate, and I don't think that he has much of a case to be better than iHeart.
Yeah.
I think if they put Serge at center more, that we could talk about him, but he really just played power forward exclusively for this team,
Mm-hmm.
and only center in the spots for them. Who else
be...
we even discuss at this point?
All right.
Nad, Moses Brown, Mike Muscala, the brief like 20 games or so that we got from Al Horford. Who else?
Okay, so Steven Adams is the okay. You want to go back? We have Eton Thomas.
We got Eton Thomas. We got Johan Petro.
Yeah, we do.
Anybody else? It's a short list over the course of the 15 years of Thunder, or 16 years of Thunder. So obviously it's Chet, and then basically to me it comes down to, is it Steve-O or is it iHeart?
I think Steven Adams gets it right today.
If you had to pick prime Steven Adams for this team or iHeart now to fill the role that he's filling, who would you select? This is how we actually decide this. Who would you rather have today?
I'm thinking playoffs. I'm thinking we're going for the chip. And I'm gonna go with the guy who's got the defensive game and a better offensive game, and I'm going iHeart.
I think it's
no disrespect, by the way, because I was gonna say Steven.
All respect to Steven Adams.
But
I think it's iHeart as well. I think that Steve-O obviously was here a long time. We got to kind of see him grow in front of our eyes, and personality-wise, there's not many guys better than Steven Adams. But Isaiah Hartenstein, what he can do as a passer and as like this mini hub in the middle of the Thunder offense is so helpful. And Steve-O is probably an underrated passer himself. He just didn't really do that. He was a monster screen setter, incredible offensive rebounder, great player, really great player. But I would go with iHeart at this point. He's just a much more skilled center, which is really hard to find. And I think that he, especially when we're talking about him and Chet playing together, and like the synergy and like the big to big passing that could exist between those two, I think that you would want iHeart's skill set over Steve-O's. So I would, when we're talking about just skill overall, it's probably Chet, iHeart, Steven. When we're talking about like best centers in Thunder history, I just think that iHeart needs to play here more.
Yeah.
For him to get it. And even Chet needs to play more. Like Chet needs to play more than one season of basketball too. So, but I still would put Chet, Steven Adams, iHeart at this point. But if iHeart plays here and he like gets an extension and is here for a long time, I think that it will be easily Hartenstein second on this list ultimately.
Yeah. And if Chet keeps getting hurt, it might be iHeart number one.
Listen, we won't talk about that. We won't talk about that. We're just talking good vibes that we have.
Okay, I'll keep it good vibes. Good vibes over here.
Two best centers in Thunder history on the team, and also two All-Stars on this team.
Just we're
vibes going.
So I like this game. We're going Thunder history. Let's go. Where's Shea at right now?
I think that he's second.
Yeah. He's second until we get more playoff success with him.
Behind who?
Okay, so we have to talk
KD.
about that. Okay, so if we're talking best players in Thunder history, like just we're talking best players, you could make the argument that like the greatest Thunder player, like whatever, when you're talking about all encompassing, when it talks about longevity, all of that, like it's Russell Westbrook. And like, you know, Shea's got to like commit to the team. He's got to commit to the city and all that. And I had the quote the other night where Shea said that he basically couldn't see himself anywhere else but Oklahoma City, which is great. But you also just have to do it. So like Russ wins that now, and then you can make arguments after that. But if we're talking about just players and who they are as basketball players and like where they are in like the pantheon of just on court basketball, I think that it's Kevin Durant number 1 and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander number 2.
Yeah. And Russ number 3. I totally agree. KD had how many scoring championships here? He had an MVP season. We had way more playoff success. I mean, the last great team that Oklahoma City had was when Kevin Durant was here before this one. Mm-hmm. So, yes, I'll give it. Like Russ has the, he has the OKC legend status. You know,
yeah,
he has the Thunder legend status.
Won the MVP here. He stayed. That 2017 season like cemented him.
Yep.
In like Thunder lore.
Yeah.
He clearly did a lot before that as well, you know, playoff wise, and he had some like significant moments. So yeah.
The difference is like, okay, KD may have been the better player, but we're going to retire Westbrook's jersey first.
Yeah. I think they're two different conversations.
Yeah.
I think that if we're just talking about just basketball players, Kevin is just an impossible standard to meet, you know. Mm-hmm. But I think that Shea is there, and if Shea wins a title here, then
he's number 1.
Number 1.
Then he does it.
Yeah, I think there's no.
He's
question.
number 1
because
he's number 1.
Kevin,
and then iHeart will be number 2,
and then we'll put iHeart number 2 above Steven Adams, who will be number 3. Okay,
above KD.
Above KD, yeah.
It's gonna totally shake the rankings.
You know what's cool about this team, though? I mean, right now, like looking at like OKC history rankings, player rankings, there are 3 players on this team right now that could be top 5 OKC legends in 6 years.
Yeah,
that's amazing. I mean, we think of that first era of Thunder basketball, and man, what a blessing that first era was for us as like new NBA fans, new NBA city, all that, right? Super lucky to have that. Great success. And then just great stories, great narrative, great everything with that team. And now it's like, whoa, we could have this era could end up being greater than that one within, I don't know, 15 years, 20 years. Oh, you know what's crazy? We're closer. Yeah, next up is 20 years of Thunder basketball. Next up, we already passed 15 years of Thunder basketball.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be here. That's hard for me. That's kind of giving me some existential anxiety, actually. But
by that time, will we have a new arena? I don't know how quick that arena is getting built.
I think by 28, 29.
Isn't that in?
That'll be the 20 years. Yeah.
But around that time.
Yeah. Yes, it will.
Math.
Good math, man.
Math.
Yeah, it's wild. The new arena is going to be amazing, by the way. Like it's going to be unreal to see what is currently Prairie Surf torn down, and then this just massive, beautiful arena in the middle of downtown is going to be pretty amazing.
Yeah, it feels kind of big league. I was reading about the architect they hired in I can't remember, I think it was 405 magazine. They did a write-up on him. They did a short interview and write-up on him. And so this is the architect that did the Warriors arena. He also did the Titans stadium. Is that right?
I think that's
and then he did another one. Like everything he's done has been like specific to that city and pretty big time, legendary. And I'm still not used to OKC having guys like that. You know, there's still this like inferiority complex being an OKC person.
I know.
It's
true.
like, wait, we get the best? Wait, why do we get the best? I feel that way with players, with the team, with the NBA team, with even like our restaurant scene. It's like, wait, what? We have one of the best?
I know. That's not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be underdogs here. Like we got the guy that designed Chase Center. Like, wait a minute. Like,
yeah, it's weird, but it's awesome.
Yeah, it's very, very exciting. Do you have a Tayshawn?
Yeah, we're gonna go to Twitter questions.
With
Twitter questions. You got questions and you ask them on Twitter. Now we answer them for you. This is Twitter questions. Let's get down to it.
what?
Jimmy.
Hello, Jimmy.
Man, you want me to take the Twitter questions?
Well, it's hard for me to jump back and forth.
I don't know. I can do it.
Okay, yeah.
You just don't wear your pretty little hat, Luke. Yeah. You just hang out in bed, stay comfy,
stay shirtless. Oh man,
it's
this one comes from @OG Wiseman. He wants to know.
Look how good. That's better. That helped my lighting.
It really did. Can we get a Janet Jackson from you at some point?
No.
On this pod, please.
I think we already did, actually.
Really?
What OG Wiseman wants to know: what are the chances that we trade this year's 3 first-round picks, assuming they're all mid to late, for one top 5 pick this year, and try to find another star and save roster space? It makes so much sense to me, but I never hear it discussed. So the thing about this particular draft is that the teams that are in the top 5 aren't going to trade their pick unless it's for like maybe trading from like 1 to 3 or 3 to 5 or whatever. I don't think that you're just like getting into the top 5 this year with the kind of talent that's at the top. When you think about the teams that could be there, the teams that are currently in the top 5 position, you have the Jazz, the Hornets, the Raptors, the Pelicans, and the Wizards. All of those teams need big time talent. They do not need depth at this point. They need like the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the only argument that you could have is maybe the Pelicans. But if you're the Pelicans, you just need top level talent at this point. You can't rely on Zion. You need to have like another guy there. They're probably going to trade BI. They need somebody else. And so to me, it's the Pelicans, but it's probably not happening. So I think the more likely thing to happen when you're talking about saving roster space is they're probably going to trade these picks for future picks, would be my guess. Like right now, the Thunder have 8, 17, and 18 currently in this draft, which I think that there are a lot of really good players in that 8 range. And I think there will be depth enough. And I don't know this class well enough. We've just kind of started doing our draft stuff. Next week on Slam and Jam, Sam Vecini is going to join us to help educate us there as well. So I really look forward to that. But there was a mock draft that Sam Vecini put out yesterday that has the this actually applies to this pod and applies to the element specifically at this very moment. But he had the Thunder selecting a guy named Con Knipple. So
I like that.
I'm a big fan. I think that
I like that.
He's a really interesting player. He's 6'7". He plays at Duke. Can really shoot the rock. He is a good passer. Like offensively, he is like definitely a Thunder guy. Like there's no question in my mind that he could fit on this team. And he's big enough and he's super competitive. Defensively, he's going to struggle.
Can he nipple? Con can nipple.
Knueppel. Yes, you can. It's spelled Knueppel, which I thought would be pronounced Knuppel or just Knuppel. But I'm sitting down starting to watch like games of his, and the announcers are definitely saying Knueppel. So
Okay.
something to be aware of, everybody.
Wow.
But I think he's super interesting in this one. Liam McNeely is also interesting to me as well, who plays at UConn. It's similar players. I think that Knuppel might be a little bit better passer, or Knueppel, sorry.
Knuppel.
Sorry, nipple man. So I think there's a lot of interesting players in this draft, and I'm excited to kind of dig in a little bit. But I think that they'll come away with some like really good talent, and then I think after that, who knows what they do with the picks? They could select 3 guys. I'd be really surprised if they did, but they could do that, or they could do what they have been doing, where the trade with the Denver Nuggets is one that you could circle and say, you know what, that makes a lot of sense for these picks. Is to find teams that need draft picks that are just desperate enough to give you a more valuable pick in the future. With like the 18th pick, if you called a team that doesn't have a draft pick, even Cleveland doesn't have a draft pick. So you call Cleveland, like, okay, Cleveland, we'll take your pick in 2030, but we need a top 3 protected. Or you call the Knicks, who need, the Knicks are a great candidate too. Because like the Knicks need depth, and they need cheap depth because they're a very expensive team. And so you call the Knicks, you're like, hey, we'll give you 18 for a top 1 protected pick in 2029 or whatever it is. I even know what picks they have at this point. I'd have to look it up. But I think that's the game that you play. And it's not exciting as like getting like VJ Edgecombe or something like that. I think that it's more likely, and it could really pay dividends down the road. If we're in 2028, you're in 2029, when you're in the new stadium, I think Thunder are like the favorite at the time because you have all these guys and their overlapping primes with Shea, JDub, and Chet, and you have more time to figure out exactly what role players you need. And then if somehow one of those picks, like the Denver pick, hits in 28, and you have a lottery pick, and you're picking like 7th in the lottery on draft night, and you have like this amazing team, like those are the scenarios that we're talking about whenever you're doing this. Now it's not fun for now, but to have those picks to either trade or to pick somebody at that time is going to be like the lifeblood of this franchise for it moving forward. You could even find the guy that bridges like the next gap for like the next Thunder team, in the draft at that time. So it's Presti's doing this. No one's really ever done this before. There's not a team that you can look to and say like this team has done this and they've done it successfully. And the Thunder, they're just doing something very different than really anybody's ever done. And so it'll be exciting to see how it plays out. But I would not expect like big fireworks on draft night like that. But it's a good question.
We're also going to have flying cars.
True.
It's going to be great.
Flying claws.
Flying cars.
Parking spaces above the arena in the sky.
Yeah.
We'll teleport down to our seats. We don't even have to walk at that point.
It'll be pretty cool.
It'll be cool. At Stone Cold S. Adams wants to know, did you envision a time when we would be desperate to get AJ Mitchell back? He's been such a calming presence off the bench.
That's funny you asked that. I was just thinking that when I was looking at the injury report today for the Knicks game. I was like, man, I wish AJ could play. And that's a really good point. I haven't taken a step back to think about that, to think of our short history with AJ, which goes back to all the way back to Summer League. When I was like, whoa, this guy is actually really good.
He can kind of go a little bit. That's cool.
Is this guy a guy? Is he a dude or is he a guy? He's reached guy status, that's for sure. But now he's like a very important part of the team and how they play. And one of our best shooters and scorers off the bench.
Yeah, I think that Wiggins has done a really good job without him in the lineup, just picking up the scoring punch. But I think he's him out there with Dub, I think is helpful.
Yeah.
I think it's just nice to have a backup, basically like a real backup point guard out there.
Mm-hmm.
So, Elman's gone.
Okay, Elman's gone. Wiggins has been in that Cavs game. I was like, there were a couple times, like, man, thank God for Wiggins. And this guy is so skilled.
Yeah.
Like, he had that one where he's driving to the hoop and he goes up with his right and adjusts and switches with his left and hits a left-handed reverse layup. And it's like, there's not that many guys. I mean, every so often you see something out of Wiggins. You're like, this guy is just solid and a really good basketball player.
Yeah.
And has been one of our best three-point shooters, maybe our most consistent three-point shooter.
Mm-hmm.
The last definitely 2 seasons, but maybe 3. When does the has he been shooting over 40% for 3 seasons now?
Let's check it out. Aaron,
he shot 50% last year.
He's 39.8%. So he was 39%, 49%, 39%. So
that's like an elite 3-point shooter.
Yeah, and he's taking more threes this season than he ever has. He took 1.6 last year, the year before 1.7, and then this season so far he's taken 3.7 threes per game.
Yeah.
So it's a big jump for him, and he's up from 6 points to 9 points. So you have a visitor.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Nora came in here. Hi, Nora. Good morning.
Okay, next Twitter question comes from Stuck on Morrow. He wants to know, my wife and I just had our second kid a couple days ago. Wow, congratulations. Is it fair to post Thunder fandom on him just days old, or should I make him watch all the good teams? No, Evan, listen. You have very little control over things that happen with your kids ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing you do have control over is who they're fans of, okay? Because what do people say? Well, why are you a fan of so-and-so? Well, my dad was blank. Listen, this is your time, Evan, okay? We try our best in every other area of life. But listen, fandom is one area that you have some control over.
So brainwashing your kids generally is not ethically okay. But this is the one I would call this sports washing. I think we can sports wash our kids. And I'm using that term incorrectly, but I'm going to do it. Influence, yeah, but you are making
I gotta go to work.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys know, it's snowing out there.
Yeah, it looks beautiful outside. It's like a really nice snow.
Oh, I thought you were talking about me. It looks.
You look like a nice white snow.
We're talking about your concha nipples.
Hey, let's do scores for something for the belt so that we can belt it up.
Yeah, let's do the belt. Let's do the belt real quick before we talk more about brainwashing. Okay.
You've been brainwashed?
We're talking about somebody asked about if it's too early. They just listener Evan Morrow just had their second child a couple days ago, and they want to know if it's fair to force Thunder fandom on them.
Yeah, it is. Get them a little baby jersey.
Yeah, very cute.
Yeah,
I wish I could get a brainwash. Just kind of scrub out all the folds.
Yeah,
Clean all the dirt. Clean all the dirty stuff in that brain.
Clean all the dirt out. Yeah,
man, there wouldn't be much left if they cleaned all the dirt out of your brain, Luke.
That's all I got. I think I'm going to Turkey and getting a hair transplant. Have you ever seen the pictures of the planes from the United States to Turkey? It's all hair transplant guys.
Is that true?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, it's hilarious.
That is really funny. So the Thunder play the Knicks tonight. They got Washington on Sunday. They have Philly on Tuesday. And then they come back and play Cleveland again on Thursday.
Let's do Cleveland. Revenge game.
Yeah,
we won't be
revenge game.
we won't be doing the FriPod traditionally, by the way.
Why?
I have surgery on that day.
Ooh, that's gonna be high pod.
So
High pod.
I will not be on the pod, but I think Alex is gonna pinch hit for me. So
Okay, Luke,
So-
you know what that means.
I'm ready. Let's do
They're
the
letting us off the
we
leash.
can do the
baby.
Cavs game. We can do the Cavs game. Okay, Cavs in OKC. What are you gonna do? Who wants to go first? You want me to go first again?
yes.
Okay, I'll go Thunder by 11.
That's what I was gonna pick. So I'm gonna go Thunder 12.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Thunder 2. Close game. Nail biter.
Jay's
Okay.
gonna go Thunder 45.
Okay, and then Jay is Thunder by 45.
Okay, I gotta go to work.
All right.
I'm gonna brave the roads.
Best of luck, Elman.
I'm gonna brave the roads.
Bye.
Bah!
I wondered how many times he was going to say "Brave the Roads" before.
He just kept saying it until he found his exit. How do I hang up?
Next question comes from Caleb T. Jones. Caleb _T_Jones_. Why do we give up corner threes, and what schematically should be adjusted to fix the corner three issue? The Mavs and Cavs eat our lunch with it.
Well, we played a lot of zone in the Mavs and the Cavs game, and that's probably why that stuck out so much. But other than that, I don't know. Also, I'm kind of a fan of this. It seemed to work pretty well in general, playing a zone defense against teams like that have bigs, because that's kind of how we're trying to level the playing field when they are just bigger than us, is by going to zone. And this team is so young and so quick and athletic, they can kind of do it and keep up with it in the NBA. But that's probably why it's sticking out, don't you think?
So it sticks out because they do give up the most corner threes in the NBA. So they give up 11.3 corner threes per game, which is the second most is the Raptors at 10.8. So it's not like it's like a ton more. You know, it's not even one more than the team that is in second in that stat. But the reason for it is that they're trying to take away shots in the restricted area. Like that's the whole point of all of this, is that the Thunder believe that the shots in and at the rim are way more valuable than the shots from the corners or shots from three in general. And so they would rather give up contested shots. And if you look at the teams are only shooting 37.5% from the corners on the Thunder, which you look at the other teams there, like the Raptors, teams are shooting almost 40% against the Raptors, 38% against the Pelicans. The Wizards, somehow teams are shooting 36% from them on the corner shots. The Hawks are next in line, 40%. The Nets are 37%. Then the Mavericks are 38%. So it's not like teams are shooting just an outrageous percentage on them. They're not. The Thunder do contest these. But if you look at the restricted area shots, which I just think are just way more important, the Thunder are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So they're 27th in shots in restricted area field goal attempts in the NBA, which I think is probably is more important. That, and teams are only shooting 61.5% in the restricted area against OKC on those shots, which is very, very impressive. So that percentage is third in the NBA, right there with the Cavs, right there with the Spurs. So it's like those three teams are like the best at protecting the paint. And the Cavs give up 4 more shots in the paint, and the Spurs give up 6 more shots in the paint than the Thunder do. So they're trying. So like the goal for the Thunder is to pack the paint, because you'll see it. Just like start watching for it, because they collapse on the paint with pretty much everybody they can to stop shots in the restricted area, and then they will recover out when the ball is dished out. So they just want to stop drives. They want to stop easy layups, and for the most part, they do that, and they do a good job of that. And they also prevent teams from shooting well there. There are teams. I mean, you look at the Wizards. Teams are shooting 70% at the rim on the Wizards this season. It's almost 10 percentage points better. The Lakers, teams are shooting 70% at the rim on the Lakers. The Sixers, 69%. Jazz, 69%. Clippers, 69%.
Nice.
So the Thunder, one of the reasons they are the best defense in the NBA is because they stop restricted area shots from happening. And then when they get there, teams have a hard time scoring on them. And so, like, that's the thing. And also with NBA defenses, like, you can't stop everything. Like, no team stops everything. And we're talking about the Thunder as like one of the best defenses in the history of the NBA. Like, you can certainly say they're one of the most disruptive teams in the NBA ever. So they're doing their job. And like, it feels more glaring at times when against the Mavericks and against the Cavs, but it is a weakness of their strategy for sure. But there is weakness in every strategy that exists. And I think you would rather not give up shots at the rim, just because that is like the layup, the dunk is the most valuable shot in the NBA. It just is. It's not the corner three. It is the layup because of the percentage that teams shoot on it. So I think that is what they want to, that's the purpose of this.
Yeah, I was going to say, okay, well, math. I mean, a 3-pointer is worth more than a 2-pointer, so why aren't they just letting more there? But if you look at volume, if you break down volume, so we're giving up 11 corner threes per game. They're giving up, 37% makes from there for the opposing team. So that's roughly 12 points per game. Okay, 4 threes made per game from the corner for the opposition. Versus the volume, the amount of shots that teams are trying to get at the rim. If you're saving 10 percentage points on field goal attempts in the restricted area against the opposing team, I don't know what that amount is, what that volume is, but I bet it's more points than 12. Also, I bet you're saving and ones. Also, I bet you are this team is so good. I know there's a lot of fouls, but if you look at how often they are, swarming in the paint and swarming a big, and how many times they're just swiping at the ball and not getting fouls because they're so good at just disrupting the big in the paint and getting the ball out of their hands. And they're so good at stealing the ball down there and knocking it out that, it kind of works with how athletic and how good all these guards are and smaller wings are at defense and just disrupting the ball and getting in the way. So I think you're right that it is, for those that think, well, it's a math problem. Why are you giving up threes? I think actually the math would work out to where you'd rather give up 11 3-point attempts in the corner than whatever you're saving on, focusing on the restricted paint defense.
Yeah. Also, I would just encourage you guys to go watch other NBA games because the Thunder's defense is ridiculous, and it will show when you watch somebody else. I had this text sent to me last night that said watching Cavs Thunder last night and then watching Heat Jazz tonight, and I'm not even sure it's the same sport. It's just different. And the Thunder, honestly, some of it came down to just shot making for them against Cleveland. In the fourth quarter, their offense just kind of bogged down a little bit, and they've got to figure out how to be better at that. And also having AJ and Chet and Caruso in is going to help a lot. I mean, think about the Thunder were missing 3 of their top 9 rotation guys in that game. The Cavs weren't missing any. I think that that has to factor in to what we think about what happened here, especially with somebody who's as impactful and unusual as Chet is. You have to factor that in with what's going on. So.
I totally agree. And also in that Cavs game, we talked about Shea missing shots. Donovan Mitchell missed basically everything that whole game too.
Definitely. I think that factors in too. That Mitchell was certainly disrupted by Dort. There's no question about that. But also he had a bad game. So, but they compensate for it. I mean, they feel very Spurs-esque with their offense, and that they just move the ball well. So
Yeah, totally.
At Just on a Quest wants to know, is granola a cereal?
No.
It gets
This is why.
It's its own subcategory.
What other cereal is it okay to put to mix with yogurt?
Yeah. I mean, there's certainly like a category of cereal that you could mix with.
But you don't.
I mean, you're not putting Fruit Loops in there.
No. But I'm saying, like, what other cereal do you see people mixing with yogurt? Unless they're being silly and fun.
Yeah.
Granola is accepted.
Granola is its own thing. I would say this. Granola isn't cereal, but it could be.
It can be. Yes. Granola has a granola can be a lot of things. It can be a dry snack that you eat out of the bag. It could be mixed in with yogurt. You can put it with milk and eat it, and that's okay too.
Yeah, granola is
granola.
considered a healthy breakfast cereal. Is what healthline.com says. It's a mixture of rolled oats, nuts, and sweetener like sugar or honey. Though it could also include grains, puffed rice, dried fruit, seeds, spices, and nut butters.
Mm-hmm. Nut butters.
So there you go. The internet says yes. I think it's its own subcategory.
Yeah. It could be. It is a cereal, but it's like on a Venn diagram. It's like, here's all your cereals.
Mm-hmm.
Here's all your granolas.
Mm-hmm.
Does it work? Because I'm making the center point of the Venn diagram.
Oh, yeah.
The meeting.
Carter B43434781 wants to know, I'm going to be taking my 3-year-old son to a Thunder game here soon, and he's obsessed with JDub. I want to try and get him JDub's autograph. What are the tips and tricks that you have to get autographs from players, i.e., what time to get there, what section, etc.? So here's the deal. They let you in the building 90 minutes before tip. And so you want to be one of the first ones to get if you want to get Shea, it's you don't have to be here. But to get JDub, I think that you need to be in line by 5:15 at the latest. So I get to the arena by between 5 and 5:15. Get in line. You want to be one of the first ones in line. And you have to go where. So they have the new entrance to the locker room that started last year when they redesigned the seats and everything. I'm going to find the exact section for you to tell you where to go. But it's important to go down to that particular area, which I think is at 116. Correct me in the chat if this is an old seating chart. But I believe that this is the correct seating chart. So you'll want to be in 116 or 117, and you want to be down as close as you can. So I would make a sign that says something about my 3-year-old's favorite player is JDub, or it doesn't have to say that, but like something creative that talks about JDub. He will see it, and I think if you're like in the front row, if you see it, then he'll come over and he'll say he'll sign autographs. So JDub will sign, but it's not. Shea will sign for people that are like wrapped around as people gather around. Like he has gone almost to like the opposite side of the arena to sign autographs at this point, and will sign for everybody. It's pretty amazing just to watch it. But JDub will sign not as many as Shea. So you want to be in the front row, closest to like 116, 117, somewhere around there. But I try to get to section 116. Which is where the entrance to the locker room is for them. So that's what I would do if I were you. And there will be a ton of people trying to get there. So you need to be there early, and you need to hustle. Probably need to pick up that 3-year-old and run him through. So let's see. Last one from Alex_Bowlerjack. Andrew isn't worried about Isaiah Joe's shooting. What is the percentage that would cause him concern? Are you concerned?
No. Concerned. What would it take for me to be concerned? He's shooting sub 33% probably. I don't know. What am I concerned about? We have
35.2% on the season.
Yeah, I think it's going to get up. I bet he finishes closer to 37, 38 on the season.
I'm going to find the splits from last year and see if that would make anybody feel better or if he was just uber consistent and it won't.
But what are we so I mean, I know he's important on the team.
Yeah.
But he's still a threat. I mean, they still defend when Isaiah Joe's on the court. It still affects how defenses play us. It still affects how we run our offense. It
does.
Gives you like the intangibles that you want from like an elite 3-point shooter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it would be great if he made one more per game, obviously. But it's like he's still, I don't know. I'm not worried.
So in 13 games in December of last year, I'm talking about last season, he shot 34% from three. That was the lowest that he shot for the season. This year, let's see. Okay. So he shot 32% in December. So lower. And then even in January, you want to guess what he's shooting so far in January to the worry warts?
40.
He's 38%.
Yeah.
In January. So he's been 38% from three in October, which is just 4 games. And November, December has been like one of his like roughest stretches as a shooter, where he shot 35.9% from three and 32.3% from three. But he's 38% through 4 games of January. Like I just can't be worried about shooting from a guy who we know, like that's the reason he's out there. And he's even talked about it. Like he knows that he's in this slump and I think he will eventually come out of this slump. I don't think this is something that's going to last for a long time. So I'm not worried about it. I understand people that are, I get it, but I think that shooters go through slumps like this. It happens. And like every year is not like the other. And so you can't really draw lines from here to there. I think they are also, Mark even talked about this because I asked Mark about it, that like they're trying to get him different threes that are not normal for him. They want to put him in different situations. And hopefully by season's end, he's able to hit different kinds of threes. And when you get to the playoffs, he's not as easy to take out of the game, which is the whole point of all of this. So they're part of this, and this is the explanation from Mark Degnault, is that they're willing to take a step back to learn some more things in order to take a bigger step forward. So like that's the hope there. Will it happen? Your guess is as good as mine. I think that it takes time, and I know that people are impatient. I get that, but I'm not super worried about Isaiah Joe.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before, but a lot of people, kind of talk about 3-point percentage between Wiggins and Joe. They're an easy 2 players to compare, right? Because they've kind of come up at the same time. They've been both battling for their roles at the same time, and it's kind of been like Joe or Wiggins for some reason. And you look at Wiggins' stats, and you're like, well, he's a better 3-point shooter. There's no world I would say Wiggins is a better shooter than Isaiah Joe. Even though statistically he makes more threes, the difficulty level of Isaiah Joe's threes are way more difficult than Wiggins' threes. A lot of Wiggins' threes are open in the corner, open, at the wing. There's not the threes Wiggins takes are your standard get a guy's open, shoot a three, and he makes them, and that's great. But Isaiah Joe is taking tough threes. They're running him off screens up top. I mean, they're running like plays for Isaiah Joe to get
find
threes.
ways to get him free. Whereas like Wiggs can just spot up. Like Isaiah Joe's not spotting up
a
whole lot.
No,
these guys are out on him. They won't let him spot up.
Yeah, I'm not worried. And unless you're like a superstar in this league, players have good months and bad months. That's how it goes. Unless you're one
Even
of the
if you are
top.
superstars, even if you are a superstar, you can have a bad month shooting from three. I mean, that
Yeah,
happens
that's true.
to all of them.
That's true.
So I don't know.
I'm not worried.
This team. I mean, like, listen, like just perspective time for the Thunder. They're 30-6.
Mm-hmm.
They're 30-6, and I know the last game they played, they lost, but that was to a team that is they're 32-4. So or 33-4. Excuse me. They beat the Raptors last night. 33-4. I just will not accept much hand wringing at this point. I'm sorry. Like, I just will not accept it because this is better than what anyone would have asked or imagined at this point.
And by the way, they beat the Celtics 3 days before the Cavs lost.
Yeah.
And they're
before then. And that, I just any of the hand wringing stuff, I'm just not I can't get there at this point. Especially when it comes to just like something that's shooting can be just a variable. So I'm just it's hard to predict. And I'm not saying they should never change this roster ever and they should never try to get another shooter, and I'm not saying that. And I don't think that that's the case, and I don't think that will be the case. But I'm just saying that, like, with Isaiah Joe, I'm just not worried. Okay, Taylor, are you miffed and are you peeved?
Miffed and peeved.
I'm so miffed. I had car troubles this week, brother.
Oh no, I've heard.
Yeah, listen to this. So Kate's car, of course, when the first freeze comes, if you're not in Oklahoma City, we've had a crazy winter, I don't know, week. Basically, it went from 55 degrees to below 0 in about 6 hours. So everyone's car batteries just freaked out, and like half the city's cars just didn't work the next day.
Yeah.
So that was pretty common. So that happened in Kate's car. She couldn't start it up. It was a whole thing. Couldn't get the kids where they needed to be. So that was stressful. I tried to fix it, jumpstart the car. It didn't work. I had to use a lithium powered jump starter, and that worked. So we got her car going. But before we got her car going, I let her take my car. So I had a coworker take me to work. And then I let her drive my car. About 2 hours later, I get a call at work. And she's like, hey, we're down to one car, by the way. She goes, hey, I think a tire just blew. It's like, are you kidding me? So she's FaceTiming me. She pulled off the road on the highway. The kids are in the back. What's going on? What's wrong, mommy? What was that sound? She's freaking out. She doesn't know what to do. She's walking around. She's like, the tires look okay. And then she gets around to the front of the car and she goes, oh my God. She shows me, those metal signs that like someone will put in your front yard that have like the metal legs. It's a small sign that say someone just got their roof done. Yeah. And the roofers are like, hey, we did this. And put that sign in there. So one of those was flying around on the highway. It was super windy this day. And I guess it flew right in front of the car, got sucked into the car. The two legs go perfectly directly stab into the radiator of the front of the car. And then the sign gets like sucked down underneath the car. So it pulls down underneath because the car's going forward and rips my bumper off. So my bumper's complete. By the way, it's zip tied. My bumper is zip tied up right now. I had to drill holes into my the plastic casing on the front of my bumper. And then I zip tied it up, and it's working great. There's no way I'm taking that to the shop. That thing looks brand new. So that's how I'm getting around right now. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to replace the radiator. So then my dad came out. I was coming home at lunch, trying to fix her car, trying to get my car going. It was a whole freaking thing. So it was one of those weeks with cars. But right now, we got it worked out. My radiator's fine. We closed the holes. It didn't puncture any coolant.
Oh, really?
Tubing or anything like that. Yeah, we're good.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, we're back up to 2 cars, but that was wild. That was all in 24 hours. So
brutal.
I was miffed about that. But other than that, pretty good week.
Yeah, I have to have surgery on Cavs Thunder Part 2.
Dang
on
it.
that same day. I'm super miffed because it's here,
Yeah.
Which I would love to be there in person to watch it.
Can they just amputate instead of doing surgery? So that way you can just get back out there?
Could you just just release me of this leg, please?
Like, hey, Doc, we got Cavs Thunder tonight, buddy.
Cavs Thunder,
Just
what can you do?
take it off, throw on a prosthetic real quick, get me to that game.
I know. Yeah, I'm super miffed. I'm super miffed about it. So, but gotta have something to be miffed about sometimes. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy Thunder Knicks tonight. Enjoy just the relaxation. It should be relaxing on Sunday against the Wizards at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Hopefully that's a relaxing game and not a stressful one. After we've had a long stretch of just build up to all these games, even the Clippers game. I know that there was no James Harden in that one, but it still felt like, oh man, the Clippers are good. But it'll be nice to play a cellar dweller there on Sunday. So enjoy that. We'll be back on Monday with a new pod. We're working out a way to have a pod after the game against the Cavs. So be sure to look out for that. Please like this video if you're watching right now. We got quite a few people watching here on a Friday morning. So be sure to like the video, put a comment on the actual video. We would appreciate that. Hope everybody's doing great. And we'll talk to you guys again on Monday.